Three, two, one. All right, let's talk about it. Yeah, that happened. The Hawks go in to Philadelphia and they take care of this 76ers team in Game 7 of the Eastern semis. Man, I don't know really where to begin with this, but we always give props to the team that won. So let's talk about them. Atlanta. One interesting thing I see with Atlanta is that while they may not be, I mean, they're without two kind of key players. I know Bogdanovich played today, but his minutes were limited, and probably wasn't fully right. And so they're down Bogdanovich in a way. They also don't have DeAndre Hunter. And yet they beat this Sixers team that has, I guess, more top end talent, if you want to say. I mean, with Embiid and Tobias, and we will get to Ben Simmons. But you got to give props to kind of the guy of the game, Kevin Huerter. I mean, it was a good time for him to be able to kind of go off, get his 27 points, be clutch. I mean, it is. It says a lot. One cool thing about this Atlanta Hawks team is that they have one of the guys from Golden State in their front office. One of the guys that kind of created that Steph Curry, Klay Thompson team, and he's in their front office. I forget his name, but he had mentioned that Trae Young is very Steph-like. Not a big guy, not overly athletic. You can shoot the ball, and he's, he has handles. Obviously, he can shoot the three. We saw tonight that he was a little off, and they still are able to pull off this game, which is absolutely insane. They good outputs today from Capella and Collins. Collins goes 5 of 6, 16 rebounds for him, and just is really interesting to watch this team play because they got shooters on the court. They have some veteran depth with Gallinari coming in, a little bit of Lou Williams that we didn't see as much in this game, but I believe will be a little bit more active going into this Bucks series. DeAndre Hunter again is listed as out for the rest of the year, so we will not see him. So they will be a little limited by that. It just seemed in this game that Atlanta had so many answers for Philly when you kind of felt like Philly was going to maybe try to get back into it and maybe secure and grab hold of the Hawks and say, hey, we're the better team here. We have more playoff experience as a team. We're going to do this. We're at home. We're going to do this. We've beaten you before. So, but answers by Atlanta, by a relatively young Atlanta team. So, yeah, super key for Atlanta. And the Hawks are going to the Western Conference Finals. How about that? In the middle of the season, they fire their coach. The Athletic comes out and has a little bit of reports about how he wasn't vibing with the players as well as you would like him to vibe with the players. There's some interesting things that Lloyd Pierce said about, the refs calling some of these fouls, and he kind of used Trae Young as an example, which is really weird because he's like calling out his own guy. So that was a little weird. It just didn't seem like, in his opinion, he felt like this team was good enough. Hey, they're proving you wrong now. Hey, if you guys are having a bad day today, just be happy that you're not Lloyd Pierce. An extension's coming if you're Lloyd Pierce if you go to the if you go to the conference finals with this Hawk squad. Obviously, there are a few breaks. Actually, you know what? I'm going to back up on that. There's no breaks. No breaks for the Hawks. The Hawks are the one team that actually doesn't really have a break. Every other team that's in this Final Four for the NBA, they had a little bit of break. Phoenix, again, I think they're better. They were better than the Suns. I think it would have definitely gone 7 games with kind of okay Davis and okay LeBron as far as their health goes. But, yeah, this Hawks team, amid everything, they were the ones that you would think that kind of were the underdogs in the sense of, they don't have home court against the Knicks. They shut down. It kind of looked like as if they could lose to the Knicks in that second game. as far as the series goes. But they've come out and done it. In this series, there's no, I mean, like, they lose Hunter, there's the Bogdanovich injury, and it's just kind of a interesting thing because the Hawks, like, things weren't supposed to go this way. They're kind of overachieving right now. But hey, you know what? We're reporting what happens. Kevin Huerter and Trae Young, the next Steph Clay. I don't think quite, but I mean, these guys definitely can shoot the ball. They're definitely doing some good stuff. I mean, Huerter does play defense. I don't know if he's Klay Thompson-like in that sense of being able to be that good on defense, but I mean, he has a little bit of that mold. This team is very interesting, and Philly couldn't stop him. And with that, I do want to transition to the Sixers because, oh my goodness, I mean, give credit to the Atlanta Hawks, but oh my goodness, if this Philadelphia team gets the number 1 seed this year, they are able to succeed during the regular season, have a better record than teams like the Nets and the Bucks, which I'm not sure if everybody thought was going to be the case going into the season. But they got the number 1 overall seed. They should host every game in the East going into the finals. A lot of expectations, a lot of good things from this team. I mean, I think Danny Green and the Seth Curry additions were very good. They obviously needed more shooting. They got it. They got some great play from Tyrese Maxey, Dwight Howard, Kirk Maz. Tobias actually had a very good year this year. Shake, they acquired George Hill. Matisse Thybulle is a defensive beast. And it still isn't enough. And I think we can all agree that there's something here that just is not fitting the bill. And I think that thing is the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid duo. I just don't see how it works. Listen, this team blew 2 games in Game 5 and Game 6. Unbelievable. So it's just a they did not lose. This team blew leads in Game 5 and in Game 4. So, because for a minute we were watching this team, end of Game 3, everyone's like, they won 2 in a row. That's kind of a big thing in a series. Whenever a team wins 2 in a row, you're kind of like, that should perk up your ears for sure. But yeah, this is big time for the Sixers team to be able to figure this out. And I just don't think the Simmons situation is going to work anymore. I mean, tonight in this Sixers-Hawks game, he drops 5 points. He gets 13 assists and 8 rebounds. He takes 4 shots, scores 5 points. 1 and 2 from the free throw line. I mean, if you go look at the series, he's had an 8 output, a 6-point output, a 4-point output, an 11-point output. Like, he is not even anything what he was. Like, he can't even get you in the getting double digit scoring. And it's not all about scoring. I know that Ben provides defense, but with him not being able to score on the perimeter, it's hard to watch. And it's hard to imagine this 76ers team holding on to him next year. I believe that with these blown leads, they the Doc Rivers phenomenon, if you want to call it that, not being able to get it done in some big stage moments, it's a curse, man. That man is, I don't envy him, to say the least. Look, we do have to address some of the comments, though, made by Doc Rivers at the end of at his presser, where he talks about how Simmons, the reporter asks, is Simmons a point guard on a championship winning team, essentially? And Rivers just says, I don't know. Now, I kind of personally, if I was like Simmons or really anybody in that team, on that team, I feel like the right answer would just be like, I don't know because we haven't won the championship. And I think that's maybe what Doc Rivers is trying to play it off as. But just the way, I mean, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. He doesn't believe in Ben Simmons. Embiid also mentions in his post-game remarks, he felt like the game turned when, there was a missed free throw and there was a shot that was passed up by Ben as well. It just was not, not a good day for Ben Simmons. Philadelphia now has exited the playoffs with relatively high expectations. There's the Jimmy Butler year. There was the kind of chaos last year playing the Celtics. And there's a little bit of breaks. I mean, you got to be honest. There's a little bit of breaks. LeBron moves out of the conference. Kawhi moves out of the conference. And, you still have a great talent in Joel Embiid. And we still can't really get over that hump. Look, the spacing issue with Embiid and Simmons, that's kind of the biggest thing that comes to the forefront. I just don't know if these guys are really... Again, you don't need to like all of your teammates, but I just don't feel like this duo is the answer at all. And I don't think they relatively enjoy each other at all as far as being teammates. You can go into work ethic, you can go into different personality types, you can just do whatever you want, but I don't think the pair's working. In today's NBA, go look at the other 4 teams that are in the Final Four here of the NBA. They don't put 2 bad shooters on the court at the same time as, at the very least, is their starting 5, which, again, are the guys who are getting the most minutes anyway, especially in the playoffs. They're not doing that. They're not putting 2 bad shooters on the floor. This 76ers team is forced to do that just due to the talent of Ben Simmons. At this point, I just think that I know Embiid can shoot his threes, but you don't want him to. You want him inside. So that is an interesting situation. I don't know exactly what can happen with Ben Simmons at this point as far as a trade goes. They had there was rumors about the Lowry trade at the deadline, and supposedly that was caught up by Tyrese Maxey and them not wanting to part with him. There was the James Harden potential deal before he went to Brooklyn, and oh man, I mean, I don't think I even need to say the fact that I think everyone that's a 76ers fan or even the 76ers organization themselves would disagree with the fact that they would rather have James Harden. I think there's a little bit more to that, but with the Daryl Morey situation. But I mean, hey, Morey is aggressive. What do we know about Daryl Morey? He is aggressive. I think something will happen, and we'll just see. Tobias Harris is one thing I want to touch on to end this conversation. I really don't know, and Milwaukee faces the same situation, that their best player isn't necessarily the guy that you go to at the end of a game. And I'll tell you why for the Philadelphia. It's the same thing as Giannis. Now, I think Embiid definitely I would trust Embiid taking a 3 over Giannis taking a 3. Just be honest with you. Trust him at the free throw line more than Giannis. But the one thing that I would say is that both of them should definitely be finishing at the basket because that's what they do best. But sometimes you can't even get in there in these late clutch time moments in the playoffs. So you do need a guy who can go and create his own shot and be able to drive and put the ball on the floor and get past the dude and maybe, get to the mid range or whatever it may be. So who is that guy for the Sixers team? Well, it's Tobias Harris. And who is it for the Bucks? It's Chris Middleton. I don't know, because they're not the best players on their own team. I don't even know. Tobias isn't even an all-star. So he can't. I don't think he's the guy. If you're having a guy who's not an all-star, be your closer, I'm not confident with that. I'm not going to ride with that. And Tobias had done it during the regular season as well. And hey, he's a good player. I think he's maybe the 3rd player on a good team, and that's kind of what he's playing right now. But again, with the fall of Ben Simmons, a lot more is on Tobias Harris's shoulders. It wouldn't surprise me if Tobias Harris is traded. But again, I think I think we're all expecting Ben Simmons to be moved. It wouldn't be a complete shock to me if Tobias Harris is moved, but again, it would have to be in a kind of a big kind of a deal. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Philadelphia is out. Atlanta moves on. It was a good game and a good series, obviously going 7 games. However, the 76ers are out. What will happen with this team is Ben Simmons wearing a Sixers jersey at NBA tip-off at the end of this year in October. We don't know. We'll figure it out. Hawks, Bucks for the East Championship. How about that?